Welcome. This is the Drupal usability meeting for December 23rd, 2022. I'm Benji Fisher moderating, and the only other person on the meeting today is Ralph Kohler, who's sharing his screen. We might have another short meeting if no one else shows up, but yeah, let's talk usability.
Yep. I could quickly repeat what I've told Benji right before he started the recording.
Yeah.
I came across an issue that was located in the max length issue queue that was brought up in the UX channel yesterday or the day before. It's issue number 3296289. And it's about disable the summary max length options if summary input is disabled. In the current state, if you go in the manage form display and you have there the max length settings.
Okay, so this is with the contrib module max length installed. Yeah. Okay.
And the current state of the patch applied is that the summary is hidden in case in your field, which is called in my case new, on the edit page, you have summary input and require summary unchecked. For a text formatted long with summary field type. And currently it's hidden, and they were thinking about show it, but disabled those two fields in case summary is deactivated. That way people, I quickly, a new tab, zoom in a bit, so that people realize the summary is deactivated on the field type, and add a note: the summary maximum length settings are disabled because the summary input option is disabled in this field setting. I'm kinda not a fan of disabling form elements, but at the same time, it's important to inform the user or make him or her aware that there's some sort of deactivated setting. That would be okay, but I wondered, how does core itself behave? And for example, I've deactivated the summary input and require summary. And if you take a look at in the manage form display in the widget for that one, you still have the summary rows as well as the always show the summary field checkbox activated, and basically it's not available, and still it says text area with a summary, even summary is deactivated. So I've discussed that yesterday with Brandon at the Drupal Dojo in Austin, and my initial idea was maybe simply change the title from text area with a summary to text area with a deactivated summary or something like that, just to communicate that the summary is deactivated and maybe hide the summary rows and that checkbox. But his suggestion was, and that's the initial question I've asked Benji right before the recording started, is there a reason why the summary input checkbox and the require summary is in the field type edit page? Why not instead? Because if the field type is set up, where is it? Because it's a formatted long with summary field type anyway. So in the database, the field or the cell for the summary is created anyway. But why not basically add a second plugin? So you have one plugin with just text area and one plugin with text area with a summary. And in a plugin with just text area, you hide summary rows and the the checkbox. That way it would be way more clear and straightforward to understand.
Okay, so first of all, yeah, could you go back to the previous screen?
That one?
Yes. The first question is, why choose text area with summary if you're then going to disable summary input? I guess that means that you always use the first 200 characters or whatever of the main field.
Yep.
And so I guess what that means is that this field still has display options, that you can display the summary or you can display the whole thing. So my first thought was that it seems sort of silly to use a text field with summary if you're then not going to allow people to edit it. But I guess there is a use case that you do this if you want to be able to generate the summary automatically, and maybe you want to use that in views or whatever, or a different display mode of the content type. So okay, so it does make sense to enable or disable the summary input. And then your thought is, if I understand correctly, is to tie the display mode to whether this option is checked or not. And if summary input is not allowed, then you don't present those options on the field settings or the display settings page. Okay, so you currently have summary input disabled, so the content editor is not allowed to enter something explicitly. And then go back to the field display settings, or the form settings, I guess. The
form settings it is. Form display. Yep. And there you have summary rows, for example.
You still have these options. And you always show it. And then on the edit page, when you're actually editing something with this field,
that's the new, there is no summary.
I'm sorry, what do you, oh,
The
thing
new,
labeled.
sorry. It's labeled new, sorry. It was a bit unclear.
So that's the field. And then summary is a completely separate text field.
No, the summary that belongs to body, to the body field. I have two different ones to see the difference in regard of require and always show the summary and not show it at all. And
okay, yes,
so
I
forth.
see. Okay,
I completely agree with you to ask a question, why to have a field type with summary and then deactivate it? That's the more basic question, but nevertheless, if you have the option, then it should be consistent. That's from my understanding.
Yeah, so I would say yes, from a usability point of view, we should hide this option when the summary is disabled. And then it becomes a question of implementation, like maybe the way the data is stored or the way the classes are set up. You know, we certainly want to have separation of concerns, that you know, field settings do their job and view modes do their job and form modes do their job. And it may just be that it's hard for the form modes to check the status of the field configuration. But if it is not an implementation problem, then I would say from a usability point of view, we should hide those options. Whether you implement that by having a separate widget option, or whether you simply change the behavior of the existing widget, I'm indifferent. I don't care.
Yeah, but for
And can we go back to the issue on the max length?
Yep, 1 second. It's this one. Yeah.
So you said it's important to tell people that the options will be available if they enable something. I disagree. I think that is not actionable information. I don't think there's any need to tell them what would happen if they made a change on some other page. And yeah, I am not at all an accessibility expert, but I've, through these meetings over the years, I've occasionally talked with people who are, and they consistently say that disabled form elements are a bad idea.
Yep.
So both from my understanding of the accessibility issues, I think just hiding it, which I think you said is the way it currently works, is a better solution than showing it as disabled with this information message. I think you're just giving them additional information that's not actionable. So I don't see why you would want to do that.
Not necessarily. I see it only from the perspective, let's say you have a bigger site with several site builders, and one site builder is changing, for example, the settings on one content type for one field, and is, for example, hiding the summary. And if someone else comes new to a team or revisits or wasn't aware of the change, then it takes a little bit of time, or he or she doesn't notice it at all, that, for example, it is a long text field with summary, but the summary is hidden. That way, it's difficult. Okay, at the moment, indirectly, it's possible because the summary rows are still shown. So that's an indication. And you have the widget title text area with summary. That way, it's an indication indeed. But nevertheless, to have some sort of feedback might be good, but not in the form of some like they have it at the moment.
Yeah, reading the issue here, the steps to reproduce, I guess the current state is that the summary max length settings appear on the widget for configuring the form.
Yeah. Those are the max length settings there. And without the patch, you would have those extra two fields corresponding to the summary settings for max length.
So let's see.
You have summary maximum length and summary countdown message, analog to the maximum length and countdown message for the body field.
So wait, but the screen you were just showing me doesn't show the summary maximum length at all, right? Is that using a different patch?
No, I meant with 1 second, I'll just remove the patch. Code, oops.
Yeah, I think completely hiding them is better than showing them disabled. And I guess I was a little confused. I thought we were looking at the page the content editor would see, but we're seeing the page that a site builder would see.
Yeah, site
This
builder.
page.
Yeah, that is without a patch currently. You have the summary maximum length, the summary countdown message, maximum length, and countdown message.
Yeah.
And
I guess one phrase we use often is progressive disclosure, and not having them available unless the summary is enabled is a version of progressive disclosure. And I think that's the standard pattern rather than using disabled form elements with a non-actionable message. That's my opinion.
I agree. That's yeah.
Now, I always say that I'm not a usability expert, and the recommendations from this meeting should be considered based on how many people attend the meeting, and that our strength is that we often have a diverse group of people. And so with just two of us, I would make it a weak recommendation, but I guess we both agree that hiding it completely, that I guess the patch that you were using is better than the proposed resolution in the issue.
Yeah, they basically wanted to iterate on the current solution in the patch and wanted to show it disabled. And yeah, I agree with you in that regard. Yep.
Great.
And do you think it would be reasonable to open an issue in regards of core for hiding summary rows and the checkbox in case summary is deactivated?
Yes, and of course, search first. There might already be.
I've already searched a little bit yesterday with no luck so far, but I will take another step tonight and see if I find anything.
Okay. And I have a question for you. Can I share my screen?
Yep, 1 second. Stop sharing.
Give me a minute to find the right window. Yes, this is it. Okay, so if I did that right, I'm showing you migration dependencies has inconsistent structure. The issue number is 326 2395. So I don't want to go into the details of what this issue is about, but question came up about the change record. So this is still a draft. And it's in the section of detailed differences. And it's this sentence here. So sometimes, but not always, each of the two lists is expanded so that it includes all derivatives of any migrations on the list specifically. And then there are 2 bullet points giving some details. And the question came up whether a non-English speaker would have trouble with the word specifically. So as a non-English speaker, can you give an opinion on that?
Does mean specifically in that context something like in particular?
Yes, the following 2 bullet points give details about the statement that I just made.
Yeah,
Sometimes, but not always. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it just meant that those 2 examples are in particular that come to mind in the context of sometimes, but not always. Each of the 2 yeah.
Right. It's giving more details about the sometimes, but not always.
Yeah.
It is more specific. And maybe I should just use a colon here and remove that word. Would that be more clear?
Sometimes, but always visually.
And I'm sorry, I may have said you're a non-English speaker. I meant to say non-native English speaker. Maybe I said that right.
Well, sometimes I feel like I'm a non-English speaker.
Ich spreche keine Deutsch, so I'm very happy that that you can speak in my language. I'm very lucky.
The only odd thing about isn't that the sentence starts with just a single word and then goes into a list. That's the more odd thing than the term itself specifically. Specifically for non-English speaker, non-native English speaker, at least for me, it doesn't feel like a problem. It's more like how the sentence is constructed. So you front load specifically, and then you come up with a list, and after that, it stops. So
it sounds like I should just remove the word specifically, and instead of a full stop, I should use a colon.
Yep. Sometimes, but not always, each of the two lists is includes order of any calculation on the list. Or you leave the period, and instead of specifically, you say something. It's a bit wordy, but something like the 2 main examples are colon. So it's more of a sentence, and instead of just a single word.
Well, I prefer to use fewer words rather than more.
Yeah, I just wanted to convey the gist.
Do you really not like the idea of a colon?
No, I like the idea. Yeah. The only thing I would have a problem if you remove specifically and just replace the period with a colon, then you have sometimes, but not always, each of the 2 lists is expanded so that it includes all the widths of any migration on a list. And then if you have a colon, it's just a hard break. It's no, what's the name for it? Hinleitung. It's missing some sort of introduction to the next part, the list itself. It's okay, but
So let's
Not sure how to express it.
do some
What I
editing
mean.
here. All right, so this is what I'm suggesting, and then we have the same construction. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, the same. So the two cases are, and maybe no comma.
Colon?
Oh, I was taught never to put a colon after a verb, but
Oh, okay.
I think that's
Then remove it again.
all right. And now I will preview, so I'm not committing either of these changes, but he can. So here it is with the colon, and then here it is with the two cases are.
Or
I guess it's not entirely a parallel construction, but anyway, I was using the word specifically in two places.
but do you think it would make sense to strike the two just to say the cases are? Because you have already the two lists are expanded when it's accessed, so the two is already.
Strike the word two.
Then it would be shorter, but still a lead up to the list. And would it make sense to use the same pattern above as well, instead of the colon, period, and then again, the cases are when a migration?
Yeah, I'm
For just a comparison, which works better. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that kind of lead up better, to be honest. It's easier for comprehension.
Okay. So the cases are, how about in detail? Or the section's already titled detailed differences, but or that is, or the
To be honest, in detail, that might work. That sounds good.
all right. Shall I use in detail in both places?
Yeah.
And then actually save? Preview one more time. Here's one. And here's the other. and no more specifically.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I will save that.
Cool.
Is there anything else you'd like to talk about from today's usability meeting? For today, here we go. Here's the issue for today, 332-7488.
No, I don't think. I think it's makes more sense to discuss other issues with a bigger group.
Right, I agree. Well, let me just give a little progress report. So this is the meta issue, but I want to go straight to the first child issue, move custom block types, admin link to admin structure. And I did a review of this, and I think the previous people who looked at it just didn't test it thoroughly because there were some problems with the help text. And it took a few rounds, but I was finally satisfied. So this is, in my opinion, RTBC. And I actually think we should not wait for it to be committed before working on the next issue, even though we've marked the next one as postponed. Oh, I guess I forgot to read the issue number. It's 2987964. Move custom block types, admin link to admin structure. So anyway, this is now, in my opinion, ready for a committer to look at, and I think it should get in without further changes.
Yeah. I already noticed your review and followed along a little bit. But yeah, with those code level reviews, I'm not the best help.
Well, but a lot of my objections were to the way the help text worked. So if the code change is changing the help text, then you should look at the help page and see what. Let's see, does this still work? I think I have a different patch applied. Yeah, page not found. But I go to help. It's just a question of going to this page, and I guess not this page, but the custom block help page. Make sure that these links work, and that the changes to this text make sense. Like I think, you still place it in a region from the block layout page. That much is not changing from this patch, but this text was changing and sending you to a different page, and that was one of the problems I brought up.
Okay. The links in the help text I haven't thought about, to be honest.
Right. So
that makes sense. And in regards of the copy itself, I thought it is in one of the postponed issues when all the three moving parts are in. Therefore, I haven't really put real focus on that yet.
Yeah, well, so I guess it's perhaps a combination of code review and testing. So sort of a cursory look at the code changes tells you that that changes are being made to hook help. And then rather than trying to review those in the code, review them in the or by looking at the help page. So
True.
looking at a patch is kind of hard.
Yeah.
But, or block content dot module. This is in the function, the implementation of hook help. And yeah, this is very hard to review. We're removing this line and adding this line. Yuck. But if you can figure out which line in the help page is being changed, then read it and make sure that it makes sense. So progress there. And I may just go ahead and start work on the next issue, even though it's technically postponed. We'll see. Need
Nice.
to find some time.
Cool,
Okay.
cool.
Thanks for help with the wordsmithing on that change record.
No problem.
And yeah, I expect next week might again be a small meeting, but I plan to be working, and I'll run the meeting if anyone cares to show up. Thank you for being here today.
I will show up also next week.
Okay, see you then.
Yeah, and have a nice Christmas.
Thank you, and happy Hanukkah.
Indeed. Okay,
Bye-bye.
then nice weekend. Bye bye.